Hello guys. Fair value measurement. This is given by IFRS 13. I believe is one of the most difficult IFRS which I have encountered till now. See, the problem is the IFRS is very vague. First of all, this reporting standard uses very complex language to explain itself. Also, there's a huge fear among accountants and chartered accountants to explore this fair value accounting. The problem is with the word fair itself. I mean, correct and incorrect, these are very clear words. What do you mean by fair? That is where the problem starts. Fair is like it's okay, like it's not the best thing, it's not the worst thing, is this is what is fair. So the fair becomes there's a lot of ambiguity around the word fair. Also, the language used is very complex, so let me try to simplify it for you. Now, what exactly is this fair value measurement? What does this standard talk about? First, we need to understand that IFRS 13 on fair value measurement is not a standalone reporting standard. What do you mean? You can't apply it by itself. So every time you apply IFRS 13, it is applied along with some other IFRS. That you need to keep in mind. For example, there may be a separate IFRS for fixed assets valuation. There may be a separate IFRS for inventory valuation. There may be a separate IFRS for revenue recognition. There are so many other reporting standards. So those reporting standards will tell you whether or not we can use fair value. Suppose a particular reporting standard says you cannot use fair value, then there is no need of IFRS 13. Suppose a particular reporting standard says you can use fair value, that is when we refer to IFRS 13 to know that how to use that fair value then. So basically, if you look at, all accounting standards can be divided into two types. Some are called the when and some are called the how. Means when to apply standards and how to apply standards. Okay, the fair value measurement IFRS 13 is a standard of how to apply. It is not about when to apply. When to apply IFRS 13 is not given in IFRS 13. For that, you have to go to other reporting standards. They will tell you situations when you can apply fair value. The minute they say that now you can apply fair value, how to apply fair value, that discussion we can refer in IFRS 13. So let us begin the discussion. What exactly is this fair value first of all? Correct. Now, this fair value definition changes when we look at assets and liabilities. So what is an asset fair value and what is the fair value for a liability? Let us understand separately. Let us first look at what is a fair value of an asset. Now, whatever amount of asset comes in the balance sheet, that's called the book value. Okay, that's not the fair value. Then what is the fair value? In a simple way, what is fair value? Fair value, we can say, if you want to sell the asset in the market, how much will you get? For example, I'm just giving a hypothetical example. You have a cell phone. You maybe purchased the cell phone for maybe 10,000 rupees in the past. You used it for a few years. Now you want to sell the cell phone. If you sell the cell phone, how much are you going to get today? That's called the fair value for that cell phone. In a simple way, if you sell the asset, how much are you going to get? But sometimes when we are selling the asset, to sell the asset, there are certain costs. Correct. For example, suppose you want to actually sell your cell phone, but to sell the cell phone, you actually have to go to the market. So even though you can get 6,000 rupees, let's say, if you sell it, but to go to the market, you have to spend 100 rupees. So 6,000 minus 100, the fair value will be only 5,900. Are you getting this? So whatever you will receive if you sell the asset, that is called the fair value. So the question is where to sell this asset. There has to be a market, right? There has to be a market to sell this asset, and there have to be buyers, there have to be sellers in the market. Correct. So we are looking at a regular market. We are assuming that there is a regular market for these kind of assets, and in that regular market, to an independent buyer, which means you should be selling that asset to a buyer in the market whom you do not know, because if you know a buyer, probably the prices will not be fair. So to get a fair price, you need to be selling the asset to an independent buyer in a regular market. That is for an asset. Now what about a liability? What is the fair value of a liability? In a simple way, we can say exit price of the liability. Just like asset also, we spoke about exit price only, right? Exit price is how much I will get if I sell the asset. Correct? Similarly, liability means try to sell your liability. Are you getting this logic? Try to sell the liability. Don't try to settle the liability. Difference between sell and settle has to be understood. Don't try to settle the liability. Settle means my book value of the liability is 1 lakh rupees. How to get rid of the liability? Pay 1 lakh rupees, you can get rid of. Or if you are talented, even though book value is 1 lakh rupees, maybe you can bargain for a 10,000 rupees discount and maybe settle it at 90,000. No, 90,000 is not the fair value. We are not looking at settlement price. We are looking at exit price, meaning there is a 1 lakh liability. Try to make some other fellow pay that liability. Okay, obviously you might ask that why will anyone else pay my liabilities? No, hypothetically, if suppose you need to make another fellow apart from you, if you are making them pay your liability, how much will they charge from you? Because obviously no one will take your liabilities on their head. If they are taking your liabilities on their head, they would expect you to pay them something. How much is that? That is called the exit price of the liability. So we are not looking at settlement prices, we are looking at selling price or the exit price, which means if you can transfer the liability to someone else, how much are they going to charge you to accept that liability on their head? That's called the exit price. So that's pretty much basic definitions of fair value. So whether it's an asset or a liability, we are looking at exit prices when it comes to fair value. Now let us go to the next step in fair value measurement. Now the next step is identify the item first. Correct? What is the item? Is it an asset or a liability or a current asset or a current liability or a fixed asset? First step now is to identify which asset. Correct? What is the item? Which item, whether it's an asset or a liability, what is the item for which we are measuring the fair value? That is the first step. Okay, I have identified the item. Let's say I have identified a machine. So I need to find out the fair value of a machine. Great. But you may not have just one machine, right? You may have 10 machines in the factory. Now the question comes is, should I find out the fair value of each and every machine separately, or can I find out fair value of all the 10 machines put together? Which means, should I find out the exit price of each machine separately, or can I find the exit price of all the machines or the block of machines? Correct? So this concept is called unit of account. Correct? Is the unit of measurement one machine, or is the unit of measurement all 10 machines taken together? IFRS 13 again is silent on this. So again you have to refer to the accounting standard or the reporting standard for fixed assets, property, plant and equipment. That will tell you whether you have to measure it for one machine or multiple machines put together. Correct? So this is called unit of account. So first step is to identify the item being measured. Second step is to identify the unit of account for that item, because is it a single item, one unit, or all items put together is one unit? That is the next step. And again IFRS 13 doesn't tell anything about it. So refer to the when standard. When standard means when to apply standards. Those are different standards, right? IFRS 13 is only how to apply standard. Now get to the third step. Third step is, since we are already talking about exit prices, correct? So we need to understand that identify the market, correct, and identify the market participants, like who are these buyers and sellers. So we are not asking you to actually go and sell your asset in the market. We are saying that if you can identify a market where these kind of assets get sold, and you can identify the kind of people who buy these kind of assets, then you can get data about the fair value. So these are the first three steps. Identify the item, identify the unit of account, and then identify the market and market participants. Now you are ready to start valuing the fair value. Now how to, like, what approach should we take? Now there are three approaches to fair value. One approach, valuation approach to fair value, is called market approach. Market approach is just now what we have discussed. Market approach means what? If I sell it in the market, how much I will get? Or if I offload a liability in the market, correct, how much I'll have to pay? This is called the market approach. But you can use market approach only if there is an active market. Correct? Suppose the kind of asset or the kind of liability you are dealing with, there is no active market. There is no really such market where we can sell these kind of assets. There is no really such market where we can offload these kind of liabilities. In that case, you can go to a second approach. The second approach for valuation is called cost approach. We call it cost because the whole word is replacement cost. Now, what is replacement cost? Replacement cost is, think about this. You have a cell phone. If I sell this cell phone in the market, how much I will get? That is called the market approach. Now, we are not looking at selling this cell phone. Throw this cell phone in the dustbin or burn it, destroy this cell phone. If you want that exact cell phone back again, how much are you going to spend? That is called the replacement cost. Are you getting the difference? It's not about how much I will get by selling the cell phone. It's about if this cell phone is lost, to get the exact same cell phone back. I'm not talking about a new cell phone. If the cell phone is 1 year, 2 months and 10 days old and you lost the cell phone, to exactly get a similar cell phone used in a similar fashion for 1 year and exactly those many days, if such phone is available in the market, if you want to buy it, how much you are going to spend? That's called the replacement cost. That is basically the cost to replace this existing asset or the cost to replace an existing liability. This is a cost approach. So one approach could be market approach if there is an active market. No, my products, my assets, liabilities do not have an active market. Then go for the second approach, that is cost approach, to find the fair value. No, this is also not happening. There is no replacement at all. I lost a phone which was 1 year, 2 months old. This exact model which is 1 year, 2 months old, such phone is not even available in the market to replace it. Okay, then you can go for the third approach. This is called income approach. What do you mean income approach? As an example, I can say that income approach means today if you have a cell phone, though you have used it for 1 year, 2 months, correct, it is going to give you benefit for maybe another few years or few months, right? Correct? Now, if you do not have this particular cell phone, it's going to cost you something. So basically, this cell phone which you have is going to give you benefit in the future. If you can quantify that benefit, that these many years, this much monetary benefit this cell phone is going to give me, correct? And if we can discount those cash flows, correct, those economic benefits, those future economic benefits, if we can discount it to the present value, that present value of today will be treated as the fair value. So these are the three approaches you can take for valuation of fair value. That is either a market approach or a cost approach or an income approach. I am sure the concept is slightly tricky because, as I told you, this is one of the most difficult reporting standards. Even as a chartered accountant, I find this to be little peculiar compared to the other standards. The other standards are like black and white, either this way or that way. This is a very gray accounting standard. There are a lot of ifs and buts and too much technicality. Okay, so now let's get to the next step. Next step is to determine the fair value, we need certain inputs. Correct? Now these inputs have been categorized by IFRS 13 into 3 levels. Level 1, level 2, level 3. What is level 1? Level 1, simple. Like for example, I told you this market approach, right? Market approach could be level 1. Market approach means I have a particular cell phone which is 1 year, 2 months old. There is a market, active market for exactly similar, identical means almost same cell phones are being actually sold in the active market. So very good, then you can just go to that active market. It need not be a physical market. When we say market, it could be online or whatever. Market is a place where buyers and sellers are there, right? So if there's an active market and an identical asset or a liability is getting sold there, we can just pick up that market's quoted price. So we can use those quoted price, whatever price is being quoted for an identical asset, just pick up that. No need of any adjustments. This is called quoted price unadjusted. So if your inputs are quoted price unadjusted, categorize them as level 1. Then comes to level 2. As we discussed, no, there is no active market. Okay, if there is no active market for an identical product, there may be a similar product. For example, I have a Motorola G Plus phone, let's say, which is 1 year, 2 months old. In the active market, correctly 1 year, 2 months old Motorola G Plus is not getting sold. Okay, maybe a Samsung Galaxy is getting sold, which is roughly the same, similar. So we are not looking at identical. Identical means same to same. Now level 2 is talking about same phone is not having an active market. Similar phone has a market. Okay, in similar phone, if it has a market, then maybe some prices will be quoted for that similar phone. Take those prices. But you can say, sir, how can we take a quoted price of a different product? It is not the same, but it is similar, not identical. Okay, so it is not identical, it is similar. So if you want to make some adjustments, you can make. So level 1 is quoted price unadjusted. Level 2 is quoted price adjusted, because we are adjusting because it's not the same piece, it's an identical piece. So that is your level 2 inputs for fair value measurement. Level 3 corresponds to your income approach, correct? In income approach, there is neither an active market for identical products, nor there is an active market for similar products. Now how to find out fair value? You can obviously use your income approach, right? Like discounted cash flows, correct? So these are multiple levels: level 1 inputs, level 2 inputs, and level 3 inputs for fair value measurement. Getting this logic? So now another slight trick is there in IFRS 13. It makes a slight differentiation between financial assets and non-financial assets. It says financial assets is like pretty easy to do, because financial assets mostly might have a quoted price, correct? They may have, a quoted price, or maybe similar assets are there. So we can use a quoted price of a similar asset with some adjustments. But when it comes to non-financial assets, for non-financial assets, it takes a slightly a different approach. So understand the key difference, what it does for a financial and a non-financial asset. Now for a financial asset, we basically talk about an active market, right? We were already discussing, like, we should have an active market, and in the active market there are independent buyers and sellers, and there's an orderly transaction. Orderly transaction in India, we call this arm's length transaction between unrelated parties. That's how we look at financial assets. But when we look at non-financial assets, could be like your machinery, fixed assets. Like non-financial is basically, it's not immediately convertible into cash, correct? So non-financial assets and these things, now the IFRS 13 says, now look at the highest and the best use, which means think about your machine's fair value as, what if I put the machine to the best use, correct? Highest use, then how much is its value going to be? So for non-financial assets, we use the formula of the highest and the best use. Whereas for financial assets, we don't use the highest and the best use. We just use the concept of a principal active market. Because for non-financial assets, there may not be a principal active market. So we now come to highest and the best use. If we put this asset for the best use, correct, highest use, maybe in reality you are not putting it for the best use. Maybe let's say a machine's capacity is 100 metric ton production, that is the best use you can put it to. Maybe in reality today you are putting it to use only for 70 metric ton maybe. But for IFRS 13 valuation, we are assuming that if we put the asset to the best and the highest use, then what is it going to be? What is the value going to be? So we look at from that perspective. So that's pretty much about IFRS 13. So I'll quickly summarize IFRS 13 for you. So first point is, IFRS 13 doesn't tell you when to apply. When to apply, that you have to refer to the other financial reporting standards. How to measure fair value is given in IFRS 13. Okay. Now, how to measure fair value, correct? First step which you need to take is identify the item being measured, then get to the second step of identify the unit of account, meaning is it a single asset or multiple assets, as one block should we find out fair value. Third is identify the market and the market participants. Next is choosing your valuation approach. 3 valuation approaches are there. Market approach, that is quoted unadjusted prices in an active market. Then there is a cost approach. Cost approach deals with replacement cost, correct? Replacement cost. right? And next approach is your income approach, where you example could be discounted cash flows to find out the present value, which will be deemed to be the fair value. The next step is now to determine the inputs. Ideal, the best is level 1. Level 1 is where quoted price in an active market of an identical asset which is unadjusted directly we can pick up. That's the best. Level 2 is slightly next level, where active market is not there for a identical product, but there's an active market maybe for a similar product. Then you take the quoted price and they make some adjustments. Level 3 is the worst. Level 3 is there is neither an active market for identical products nor for similar products. Then we'll probably go for the third level, that is maybe some unobservable inputs. So basically, if you see, level 1 and level 2 have some observable inputs, whereas level 3 is unobservable inputs. We can't observe because there's no market, correct? So we have to make assumptions and estimates like discounted cash flows to find out the present value. Cool. Now when it comes to disclosures, correct, you just have to disclose what assets you have measured using the fair value measurement, and for those assets what was the unit of account, was it a single asset or a block of assets, and what valuation approach you have taken, and what were the inputs, were they level 1 inputs, level 2 inputs, or level 3 inputs. You will give a detailed disclosure about all these things. So that's pretty much IFRS 13 for you. Hope you have a decent idea now. Yes, it is slightly difficult to understand, the words are very technical. Maybe you can watch the video once again, okay, maybe to get more clarity about it. Okay, so thank you guys. This is Vijay Krishna Dharani, chartered accountant from Kavach Academy. We are Bangalore's best CA coaching institute. Thank you. Signing off. Bye bye.